right. So thank you all for coming. We are excited to talk about sleep. March 19th is National Sleep Awareness. And it's important to know that sleep is not only something that we all do and maybe aren't getting enough of, but the lack of sleep or the adequate amounts of sleep really impact our overall health, not just our mental and our physical. So today, we're going to be looking at that from the nutrition aspect, as well as from the physical therapy aspect, and how working with a physical therapist or a dietitian can help you with improving your sleep for the long haul. So, to start, we're going to talk about the importance of sleep and how to eat well for good sleep. Not just sleep in general, but good quality, long-lasting sleep, so your body gets the rest and the detoxification it needs while you are bagging those Z's. Roxanne's going to discuss some sleep positions with you that are going to be better for your body, and talk about mattress and pillow recommendations for either when you're looking to purchase new bedding or you get inspired from this presentation and decide, yeah, I need some new bedding to support my health. So for starters, sleep has a huge impact on our financial status as a country. The lack of sleep costs the United States over $400 billion a year, and that does include missed working days because people are not feeling well, they don't get enough sleep, or they have to go home because of the lack of sleep. More than a third of Americans are not getting enough sleep regularly, which we're going to look at the amounts of what constitutes enough sleep per age in just a second. And insufficient sleep is linked to 7 out of the 15 leading causes of death. So there are a number of reasons why people pass away, and when sleep is related to over half of those, we are in a pickle. We definitely want to make sure that we are getting enough sleep and that our sleep is good quality so it can reduce our risk of these chronic diseases that are increasing our risk of death. In 2016, the CDC called insufficient sleep a public health epidemic, which, living in a current pandemic, we know that the word epidemic means that it's an ongoing big problem throughout our community. So when the CDC is saying, hey, this is a problem, we know that it is a big problem, and it's something that we can all take steps towards improving our health, not just getting more sleep, but also getting good quality sleep. So that's what we're hoping you can walk away with today, some tips to not only get more sleep, but also better sleep. Sleep needs do range based on your age and lifestyle. For children, between 9 to 12 hours. For 6 to 12-year-olds, 8 to 10 for 13 to 18-year-olds. Oftentimes, kids who are in their high school years want to sleep more. Their hours and their circadian rhythms actually change as they get older. So it may seem like they want to sleep all day and then stay up all night, or they're wanting to sleep for really long hours. It's really just the change in their body chemicals that encourage later hours being awake. Adults, it's recommended between 7 and 9 hours for 18 to 64-year-olds, or a minimum of 7 hours for all adults. So we need to have that amount of sleep for a number of reasons, including how we feel, getting enough rest so we don't have the nice puffy look under our eyes, as well as sleep is a really important time for our body to heal, for our body to reduce stress, and to take care of itself. 6 hours or less of sleep every night can be a very dangerous issue to have. And about 3% of the population has genetic function where they can, where 6 hours of sleep is all that they can get. So if you're part of that 3%, you may be feeling fine. The rest of us are not designed to live on such limited sleep and really do need to prioritize sleep for how we feel and for our quality of life and our health. So our sleep quality, that's looking at how good is your sleep? Is it really worthwhile? Good quality sleep is classified as falling asleep within 30 minutes of going to bed. So if you go to bed and you're hanging out on your phone, you're doing other things for more than 30 minutes, that may delay your quality of sleep. Falling asleep is when you go to bed with the intention of going to sleep. Lay down, close the blinds, turn off the lights, put away the phone. Ideally, falling asleep within 30 minutes is a sign of good quality sleep. Sleeping soundly throughout the night, so very few interruptions, not waking up a whole lot, maybe waking up once to use the bathroom or if something startles you, but overall, sleeping pretty consistently. And if you do wake up, say to use the bathroom, you're able to fall asleep quickly. These are things that help your body get back into the rhythm of being at that lower energy, healing, resting, repairing, versus the high energy needing to be awake, having your brain be chatting to you and not being able to fall back asleep. Poor quality sleep involves not being able to fall asleep within 30 minutes of trying to go to sleep, waking up more than once, whether it's for needing to use the bathroom or aches or pains or just not getting comfortable, as well as restlessness, staring at the ceiling, waking up really early, snoring, or gasping for breath. These are all things that maybe you have noticed, like, yeah, I toss and turn all night, or maybe things you haven't noticed, like snoring. And they are signs that maybe you're not getting the best quality sleep and your body is being deprived of those sleep minutes that your body needs, even though you may be, say, in bed for 7 to 8 hours every night. So if you're not sure if you are snoring or gasping for breath, I'm sure if there's anyone else in your house, they would probably be very happy to tell you and give you an honest answer if you are in fact snoring. These are things that you want to be considerate of and to take seriously, because with the sleep, with not getting enough sleep, there's a huge impact on a variety of health concerns. So how does not getting enough sleep affect our body? Well, from the nutrition standpoint, it increases our hunger hormone, which is called ghrelin. Ghrelin is released when our body needs to eat and when we're getting hungry, like our stomach is empty. And if we aren't getting enough sleep, your body's going to send out a lot more ghrelin and a lot more hunger signals because it doesn't have enough energy to run off. You might be eating the same amount of food every day, but if you're not getting enough sleep, your body's going to need even more energy because you're not well fueled and well rested to use the fuel that you are getting. Not having enough sleep also decreases your fullness hormone called leptin. Now, leptin is the hormone that is secreted when you're filling up, when your body's done eating, and why sometimes you can be eating food and just suddenly you're like, I'm kind of done. I don't really need any more. That's leptin doing its job. If we're not getting enough sleep and we're not getting enough leptin, it's very easy to eat more than we need to gain weight, maybe not make the best food choices. So we're getting into some chemical changes that can happen when we're not getting enough sleep. Our body may also conserve energy. We may not be as interested in going for walks or being as active or motivated, and we may consume more energy from those high calorie foods like donuts and pastries and things that are easy to eat. Our body also does a lot of tissue repair in your brain, in your muscles, and all your organs while you're sleeping. And if you're not getting enough sleep, your body doesn't have time to do that. So we want to make sure that when we are getting our rest, that we're doing it so our body can maximize its hormone use and make sure that all of the organs and body parts are in good shape. So some of the effects of sleep deprivation on food choices in particular include that there's more time for you to be awake, which means there's more time to eat. I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but if you're staying up really late and you're watching TV and it's suddenly, 1 in the morning, it's a lot easier to say, I'll just grab a quick snack, no big deal. The more hours we're awake, the easier it's going to be to get more food. And if we're already sleep deprived, it's going to be even easier to eat more of that food because our body and our brain are saying, yeah, just keep eating. We're really low on energy. You may be more sensitive to food stimuli. So you may see something in a magazine or on TV. Someone may mention a certain food that they've eaten recently, or you may smell something as you walk by the kitchen, and that makes you want food more. That can be really fun. Like, oh, you know what? It was great to think about or to smell this food. Can also lead to a little bit more eating than we need to. You're more likely to have irregular meal patterns, eat when you're not planning on it, munch or graze just because it's available. And all these things can increase our risk of weight gain and overeating foods that are not as healthy for us. There's the increased likelihood of eating the energy rich foods, which are going to be higher in calories. So calories are the food source of energy. So when we're not as well, when we haven't had as much sleep, it's going to be a lot easier to grab McDonald's, pizza, foods and desserts that have a lot of sugar and fat in them because they are very energy rich and they're probably going to be pretty easy to grab. The high fat foods, the high carbohydrate foods as well, because carbohydrates give us quick energy. And if we're really slugging through the rest of our day because we're so tired, those carbohydrates are going to boost our energy a little bit, and those are going to taste really good. Think the stack of Oreos in this slide. It's also going to be a lot easier to forego fruits and vegetables that may require cutting, more chewing, a little preparation, or needing to be stored in cooler temperatures. And we may be more likely to grab more snacks, be it healthy snacks like fruits and vegetables, maybe, or more of the snack foods, popcorn, chips, pretzels, cheese slices. And these food choices can lead to health impacts. So some of the risks of not sleeping when we're thinking about our food choices, it can impact our immunity. So with the pandemic, our immune systems have been a big focus of what we're doing, of what we're hoping to maintain every day. If we're not getting enough sleep, your immune system has to work even harder to keep you healthy. We can have weight gain, as we've seen from the food choices that we may be eating, as well as your body is not processing the foods and the toxins as well as it should be. We have a higher risk of stroke, which can be debilitating, higher risk for diabetes, which is a very costly disease in the United States, as well as higher risk of high blood pressure concerns, which we can't feel. Our blood pressure can be really high and we have no idea. Heart disease, which can sneak up on us. Stroke is listed twice, so we want to make sure that you're paying attention there, as well as Alzheimer's disease, ADHD, and depression, which are all mental health concerns that play into a huge role in how we behave and how we take care of ourselves. Slower wound healing is also a big problem for people who don't get enough sleep because your body does a lot of work while you're sleeping to heal wounds, to repair muscle, to detoxify your brain. And when these things aren't happening because you're not sleeping, it makes it really hard to rebuild a strong muscle or to rebuild an injured body part. Not having enough sleep also increases our risk of all-cause mortality, which is not a good thing because we need to sleep every night, and sleep is a huge important part of our lifespan as well as our day-to-day. So what do we do about the food piece? So there are foods that we want to avoid when we're thinking about falling asleep. There are foods that are going to keep us up, and there are foods that are going to help us ease into sleep. So we're going to start by talking about the foods to avoid, because they're going to encourage you to be stimulated and awake, or they're going to not sit well in your stomach and increase the risk of things like acid reflux. So high sugary foods, although they may taste really great, are going to spike your blood sugar and may give you a little bit more energy. So going to bed and falling asleep doesn't feel like the right thing to do. Some people say that alcohol helps them fall asleep. They get sleepy, they want to go take a nap after having a drink. Alcohol is a short-term effect on that sleepiness, but actually has been shown to disrupt your sleep cycles throughout the rest of the night. Caffeine is a stimulant, so for a lot of people, if they have coffee or some sort of caffeinated tea or beverage in the afternoon, they don't sleep well. Caffeine's a really good thing to avoid if you are particularly sensitive to caffeine, and trying to keep it earlier in the day can help you get your caffeine fix without interrupting your sleep needs. Greasy and fried foods, again, they may taste really good, but when you eat those foods, it requires your body to secrete lots of stomach juices, and those stomach juices are used to digest the food. As you're digesting those foods, that puts more pressure on the muscle at the top of your stomach, which can then become irritated and keep you up at night, or give you heartburn, which is going to interrupt your sleep and increases the risk of esophageal issues. Spicy food is along the same line, as well as there can be a little bit more of a burning sensation. Too much fluid or too much of any type of food just puts a lot of food and stuff in your stomach, which then causes that muscle at the top of your stomach to stretch a little bit, and can increase the risk of acid reflux, or GERD, as some people may know it as, which can keep you up and can be very bothersome. Even if you're taking medications for things like acid reflux or GERD, it's still a good idea to limit the amounts of foods that you're having at night, to help prevent issues with acid reflux that you may not be feeling because you are on medication. It's also important that regardless of what food or when the last time you ate was, it's important to brush your teeth, because your oral health and your dental care is really important to not only staying asleep and having a healthy mouth. There have been lots of research studies relating your oral health to other parts of your general health. So some eating strategies for better sleep include having consistent meals and snacks during the day. If we're going too long without eating, it makes it very easy for us to overcompensate at later meals or snacks. Or if foods are available in the break room, or someone brings home a special treat, to just devour large portions without paying attention to them. When we're able to keep that hunger in check, that helps us have more control in the evenings, when we may not have as many deadlines, or we may be having a little bit more time to relax. Limiting water in the evening can be a helpful thing for people who do have to get up and use the bathroom, either from prostate concerns or pregnancy, or their bladders just need a little support. And skip the coffee after 3 p.m. is a great way to prevent that stimulant from creeping into your evening routine. The same goes with alcohol. It may start us off feeling sleepy and woozy. However, it is going to affect your sleep, the sleep overnight, not just the getting to sleep piece. If you are planning on eating before bed, particularly if you have acid reflux or GERD, it's a great idea to give your body 2 to 3 hours between finishing your meal and laying down, to help your body digest and prevent those stomach acids from squirting back up into your esophagus. It's going to sound a little contradictory now to say avoid going to bed hungry, but it is important to not go to bed feeling super hungry, because feeling super hungry is going to lead to not sleeping well, maybe waking up, night eating, and none of that is going to be helpful for how you feel the next day, or even how your body reacts. If you are feeling particularly hungry, it's okay to have a small snack, and we are going to talk about some healthier options there. High intensity interval trainings workouts may help with getting to sleep a little bit sooner. Wouldn't do them right before bed, but a couple hours or so can give you a jolt of energy that you expend, so you feel a little bit more tired at bedtime. So some snack ideas that can be helpful for falling asleep if you are feeling hungry before bed, or you get home late and not really planning on having a full dinner. I typically recommend having a carbohydrate with some sort of protein. If you're like, so pasta and chicken, that could be an option. But better options are going to be things like fruit and a small portion of nuts, some whole grain toast and some peanut butter, some low-fat yogurt, some tuna fish on a whole grain piece of bread. The foods I have listed here are combinations of some sort of carbohydrate and a little bit of protein or a little bit of fat. Some of these foods, like kiwis, as well as certain nuts and certain dairy products, actually help with melatonin, have a little bit of melatonin, which melatonin is a hormone that our bodies create around bedtime to help us fall asleep. So if we're eating some foods that encourage that melatonin to increase our melatonin a little bit and to encourage it to work its magic, then we're doing a great thing. Not going to bed hungry, and we're getting a little bit tired, a little bit more tired as it gets closer to bedtime. So I'm going to be wrapping up in just a second with a couple more slides, and then we're going to turn it over to Roxanne. In a quick nutshell, there are some ways to improve your sleep from schedule and with food. So one of those things is to maintain a regular sleep and wake cycle. So bedtime, similar time every night, waking up around the same time every day. If you're thinking, yeah, but that's less than 6 hours, trying to figure out a way to stretch it to at least a 7-hour time slot is going to be helpful for you. Exercise regularly. Exercise is a great way to burn off some of the energy, so you're not going to bed with all this energy that has nowhere to go and you're trying to fight it to go to sleep. Limiting alcohol, caffeine, and sugar. Those all play a role in our blood sugar, in our alertness, and they play a role in our energy. So when we're cutting those back, particularly in the afternoon and evenings, it's going to be a little bit easier for us to fall asleep. Stress management is huge, and with the pandemic, it can be really hard to find ways to disconnect from the stress that might be going on around you so you can fall asleep. Meditation is listed further down, but that is a great technique to help with stress management. Puzzles, Sudokus, other sort of activities, little crafts can be great ways to blow off a little bit of steam and get you into a more relaxed state, so going to bed is a little bit easier for you. Keeping your room dark, quiet, and cool is going to make for more comfortable for your body, as well as the light is not going to be encouraging you, the light and the sound are not going to be encouraging you to maintain focus on what's going on around you. Have a relaxing pre-bedtime routine if possible. So right before bed is probably not the best time to have the super serious talks, the really watch the mystery shows that are going to keep you up and stressed all night. Keep it chill. Eat dinner 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, ideally, so you have a break between finishing your food and having your bedtime routine. Keep your bed for sleep and for intimacy. Try to keep work and other activities out of the bedroom. Limiting nap time, daytime naps, particularly if you are someone who gets tired a lot during the day. It's probably a good idea to reach out to your doctor or a dietitian or a sleep specialist to figure out why you need so many naps. Comfortable attire, I missed that one on this list, but wearing really uncomfortable clothes is not going to make you comfortable to sleep. So be thoughtful about what makes you feel comfortable when you sleep and what's easy to move in. Having that bedtime routine and sticking with it consistently throughout the week is going to be really a great routine and a great habit for you and your family, as well as cutting back on the TV and screens before bed. Just like this guy, we're all culprits of the taking the phone to bed, watching something on Netflix or the iPad or whatever it is before we go to sleep. However, all that light and all the interactions and stories and things that you're hearing and seeing on your screens is going to stimulate you to stay awake and make it hard for you to disconnect and to feel less stressed. So that wraps up my part of this presentation. I am a registered dietitian and lactation counselor. I help people with through one-on-one appointments, through nutrition education, and coming up with small, achievable goals and building upon a solid foundation. I do most of my work currently through telehealth, and I am accepting most major health insurances. If while we were talking, you said, yeah, you know what, I definitely need some support. I'm not sure how my nutrition fits into this. What about this medication? What if I work weird hours? Feel free to reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to talk with you about something personalized for you and figuring out where and how your nutrition is impacting your sleep and how to make both of those things work better for you and for your lifestyle. Does anyone have any questions before I turn it over to Roxanne? All right. So I'm not hearing or seeing anything, but if you come up with any questions, feel free to drop me a line or drop something in the chat and we can go from there. So I'm going to turn it over to Roxanne and she's going to take it away.
Hello, again, I'm Roxanne, a licensed physical therapist and athletic trainer, and we're going to cover good positioning in bed to minimize joint pain and muscle tension. We're going to talk about the best pillow strategy and tips for a successful mattress purchase. All right, you can go ahead and close that one out for me. Thank you. So as a physical therapist, I'm actually really passionate about sleep because if you are not sleeping well, then whatever injury or pain you are trying to recover from is getting negatively impacted. When you sleep, you're supposed to have a good restful recovery for your joints, your ligaments, all your structures in your body. Your anatomy is supposed to be in kind of an unloaded, comfortable position for recovery. And you're also supposed to be tamping down your nervous system activity. So if you're not sleeping well, none of that is happening. So you're waking up literally in a bit of a hole. And so when you're trying to recover from injury, if you're sleeping poorly, then you're starting your day off in pain. It just is going to escalate as the day goes by, as opposed to restful sleep where you're tamping down your nervous system and your joints experience that good recovery. You're waking up feeling better, and that helps you recover. So I talk to all my clients and make sure that they're sleeping well. And if they're not, we talk about what we can do to make that better. And for me, it has a lot to do with the ergonomics of how you sleep. So that's what we're going to cover here. So I'm just going to change my camera because, believe it or not, I literally have a bed behind me. So I can show you what this looks like. Okay, hang on. Okay. So the first thing we talk about is if someone's not sleeping well at night, then I say, like, what position do you sleep in? What position hurts? Can you tell? Is it when you're rolling? Is it when you're laying? And we talk about first, if you're sleeping on your stomach, I've got to get you off your stomach. When you sleep on your stomach, you are forcing all of your joints, your neck, oftentimes your arms are overhead, and your low back is getting hyperextended when you sleep on your stomach. And when you hold those positions for long periods of time, it's very, very damaging to the joints. So I like you to sleep in a position where your joints are in what we call neutral. So neutral is where your joints are the most comfortable and the least stressed. So looking at my wrist, you could see if I slept in the fetal position with my wrists curled under my chin, by morning, it might be painful then to get my wrist back straight again because it's been forced bent all night long. And the same thing happens to your neck when you sleep on your stomach, your shoulders, and your low back. So the best position to put all of your joints in neutral is on your back. And what I recommend when you sleep on your back is a significantly height structure underneath your legs. So lots of people sleep on their back with a pillow under their legs, but my concern is if it's too flat, it's not doing enough to put your low back in neutral. So I use a laundry basket to really drive home the point of there needs to be a significant height underneath your legs. So when I lay on my back, this is where I recommend people start. And if you can sleep in this position and you're comfortable here, this is great. The height of the basket is because without the basket, when your legs are straight, let's face it, because we have a butt, right? Our butt pushes our hips up and that puts our back in extension. But with this here, we are literally accommodating the shape of our rear so that our back is in a more neutral position. So the pillow, again, it's not so high that I'm driving my chin into my chest, and it's not in a position where I'm letting my head drop into extension. It's, again, in a nice neutral position with the pillow. So, oh, I know what I was going to say. So a lot of people say they just cannot sleep on their back. It's kind of a mental thing. If you're not used to doing it, it can be really challenging to sleep in that position. But I would rather have you battling with sleeping on your back than battling with symptoms while you're sleeping and waking up in pain. So you can train yourself to sleep on your back. And what I often recommend is if you know you're going to have trouble, then get a meditation CD, or there's a sleep app called Calm, C-A-L-M. And there is a ton of free stuff on that app. The app itself is expensive to subscribe to, but there is a lot of free meditations on it. And there's also sleep stories that you can listen to that kind of lull you off to sleep. So if you know if you lay on your back, you're just going to stare at the ceiling wide awake, you've got to train yourself with either some meditation help or whatnot to get you to relax and calm down and try to sleep on your back. Now, I'm not saying you can never sleep on your side. That's not the case. But I think on your back is the easiest and best position for your joints. So let's look at what side lying should look like. So when you sleep on your side, the problem for us as women especially is we have hips. And when we roll to our side, our hips push up from the bed and then our back is kind of shearing. So if you have a back problem, laying on your side, especially if you have hips, is kind of painful. You want your back straight, again, sort of in that neutral position that I'm trying to describe. And so in order to have that happen, I'm going to ask you to use a towel. I love towels because you can re-roll them to fit you. You're going to use a towel to fill in the space at your waist, okay? So now when I lay down on my side, instead of sinking at my waist and creating a dip, now I'm going to fill that in, and now my spine is much straighter. You can actually see this better from behind, but I'm going to talk to you about that in just a minute. So once you're on your side here, you've got the towel roll. Now I'd like you to put something between your knees. And lots of people sleep with pillows between their knees, but I want the pillow between your feet as well. And I'll show you why. If the pillow's just between your knees and your feet are together, that top leg is still dragging down and creating a little bit of a twisty pull on your low back. But if you put the pillow between your feet and your knees so that your legs are parallel, you eliminate that downward pull from the top leg on your back. Now my spine is nice and straight and my hips are stacked, so I know that even my low back is staying pretty straight in this position. If you're unsure if you've got yourself lined up right, have someone take a picture of you from behind because it's pretty clear if your back is straight or still dipping a little bit. And that brings up another point. If your mattress is sagging at all, You might need something even bigger than a towel. You might need a whole pillow on your side to get your back straight in relation to the dip that might be in your mattress. All right, so you've got your towel under your waist. You've got the pillow between your knees. Now, what do we do about this pillow under our head, right? Your pillow, when you're laying on your side, needs to be fat enough to fit the space between your shoulder and your ear, right? So that when you're laying on your side, your head is still neutral. Your nose and your sternum are lined up. If the pillow's too small, you're going to tip towards the pillow, right? And that's actually compressing one side of your neck and stretching the other side. And if you've got a cranky neck, this is going to hurt after a while. And the same thing happens if your pillow is too big, your head's going to tip the other way. And now you're stretching these structures and compressing these structures. So you need your head in neutral, right? So now I'm at the store, right? And I'm trying to figure out, is this one going to work? Is this one going to work? And what you want is something that's going to compress close to this distance. And then if you get home and you find it's a little too small, I can fix something that's too small, but I can't fix something that's too big. If this is a little bit too small, I'm going to get another towel and I'm going to layer that towel under my pillow. So now I've just increased the height of my pillow by 1 inch or so. And that may be just enough to create the space or the distance I need to keep my head in neutral when I go to lay on my side, okay? I like to use towels because I can add another one. I can take it away. I can throw it in the laundry. And it doesn't cost me anything because I have plenty of these laying around. The other benefit of a towel is it's less likely to change positions. You know, when you take your pillow and you scrunch it up, because you want something in the crook of your neck, while you're sleeping or rolling, it's going to shimmy back out and you're going to lose your support. Towels do not do that. So with that in mind, that would be the other towel that I use. Instead of purchasing a neck roll for the curve in your neck to support it, again, I like to use towels. You're going to roll it up and then you're going to see, is that the right height for me? Oh, that's too small. Then I'm going to re-roll it, right? I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, or I'm going to go get a thicker towel. Once you figure out how much support you want in your neck, you're going to tape it and then stick it in your pillowcase. And now it's not really going to move on you while you're laying on your side, okay? So pillow, good height, keeps your head or your nose and your sternum in line. Little towel height to make sure that you've got that space. Towel roll, pillow in your side, pillow between your knees. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Yes, but I would rather have the pillows and towels waking you up than pain. And you may kind of toss and turn with this a little bit, but I guarantee you, if you have a good couple of nights where you have less symptoms, you're going to relax into this, get used to it, and it gets better and better as you continue to practice with it. It's okay if you wake up and everything's tossed aside, just shovel it back in and fall back asleep. This can make a huge difference. This can make the difference between having pain every time you move at night and waking up and being comfortable. So that's kind of the bed positioning for minimizing joint stress and muscle tension. And then I also kind of talked about pillow strategy a little bit there. Are there any questions about either one of those two things so far? Anyone? Anyone? All right, and you can unmute too if you want and ask. All right, so the other thing I want to talk about is purchasing a new mattress. So when is it time for a new mattress? If you can see a divot in the mattress before you've even gotten in it, it's time for a new mattress. That means, again, if I want my back to be straight when I'm lying on my back or my side, with that divot, you're almost always going to dip, right? So even laying on my back's going to dip. And when I lay on my side, it's like laying in side bend all night, and your back does not like that. So if you can see a divot, it's time for a new mattress. The other test you can do is start on one side of your bed and roll across the bed. So literally just roll your body across the bed, and you'll feel you'll roll into a hole and then you'll roll back out of a hole. And if you've got a double bed with 2 people, you'll roll into the other hole and you'll roll back out of it. So even if you can't see it, you can feel it when you do that. And again, that's an indication that you're ready for a new mattress. So how do you pick a new mattress? I think buying a new mattress is like buying a used car. It is so hard to price compare. Every store has different models, different companies. So it's hard to know, am I getting a good deal? Am I getting a good product? I think one of the things you can do is try other beds. So during a pandemic, the best option is to try other beds in your house. Do you have a guest room? Do you have a kid's room? Do you have, a fold-out couch? Those aren't always great, but it's a good place to start. Sleep on other beds. And then if you have a great night's sleep, you want to look at what is the quality of that mattress that helped me? Does it have a pillow top? Is it a foam mattress? Was it harder than I'm used to sleeping on and I liked that? Or what was it about it that really you didn't like? Maybe you had the worst night's sleep. Well, again, was it too hard? Was it too soft? And so that's one way to do it. Another way is if you, once the pandemic's over and we start to travel more, let's say you go on a weekend trip and that mattress in that hotel was phenomenal. Oh my gosh, I slept better than I ever have before. Pull the sheets back and look, what brand is it? What is the style of it? Does it have a pillow top? Is it firm? Is it soft? What was it about that mattress that you liked? And then so traveling to families' houses, traveling to hotels, and trying other mattresses will at least help you steer towards products that you can consider. And then when you go shopping for a mattress, I highly recommend that you take your time and you literally spend all day. And I would bring headphones and a smartphone loaded up with some audiobooks. And you're going to bring your pillow that fits you, because none of the pillows in the store fit anyone. I don't know what those pillows are, but bring your pillow, bring your headset. You're going to lay down on every mattress for at least 20 or 30 minutes. So put your headphones in, lay on the mattress in the position that you like to sleep in, and see, how do you tolerate 30 minutes? You should at least feel really good for that full 30 minutes, right? But if after 15 minutes, you're like, wow, that's a lot of pressure on my hip, or I don't like how that feels on my shoulder, then you know that's not going to work for 8 hours for sure. There's another benefit. The headphones keep the salespeople away. I think it's just a high pressure sales job when it comes to buying a mattress. And when you have headphones in and you just tell them, I'm just going to lay here for a while, it scoots them away a bit, just to give you an opportunity to really experience the different mattresses in the store. And I think that can be helpful. There are specific mattresses that most people ask me about, like Tempur-Pedic mattresses. So those are the ones that have, like the sleep number beds where you can dial it up or dial it down. I have no experience with them, but I will tell you, because I speak about this a lot with my clients, I've had like one person ever not like their Tempur-Pedic mattress. And I think ergonomically, it makes sense to me that men probably like a firmer mattress because, again, they don't have hips that's shearing their back when they lay on their side. And we women probably need a little bit more cushion or a little more softness to let our hips sink in a little bit. So having those different numbers on each side of the bed makes sense to me. And like I said, experience tells me that my folks seem to really like it. I've also had a lot of people like the Bobopedic mattress, which I think is like the off brand of the Tempur-Pedic. Foam mattresses, I think it depends on the person. And again, if you lay on a foam mattress for 30 minutes, if you've never been on one before, you'll get a sense if you like it or not. You kind of sink into them a little bit, which some people feel like claustrophobic, like it's hugging them. So you'll get a sense for if you like that type of mattress if you're there for a little while. And then the last one that people ask me a lot about is like a hospital bed, a bed that raises at the head or raises at the feet. And what I would tell you is that unless you have a medical condition that would benefit from sleeping elevated, like some people with reflux sleep a little bit elevated, or sometimes people that sleep with a CPAP machine on have to sleep elevated a little bit. Unless you have a medical reason to do that, I would not recommend it. When you sleep elevated, it actually creates some rounding in your spine. And that is really hard to undo that once that gets kind of stuck there. And so sleeping for hopefully 6 to 8, 7 to 8 hours a night in that rounded position really creates a lot of changes in your spine that are super hard to undo. And I recommend that if you do have to sleep elevated, that you only sleep as elevated as you absolutely need. So maybe you only need 20 degrees of elevation, then please don't sleep at 40 degrees of elevation, because the higher you go, the more and more rounded your spine becomes. And then my other concern with medical beds or hospital type beds is a lot of people use those as a way to read or sleep in bed. And hopefully after Jeanette's talk, you know that beds are built for sleeping, not for reading or watching TV or being on your laptop or all those other things. So I would recommend that you get a good ergonomic chair to do those activities in, and not a bed. So that's kind of my mattress spiel. So I'm hoping that you have some questions regarding any of that. You can unmute if you want, or type in the chat.
Roxanne, what if you find that you can relax the most when you are laying on your stomach? Like that just feels more relaxing, like it's like you're in a massage chair. How do you deal with that?
So I do have, you know, of course, I've had people over the years that have said like that's just where I sleep, and I won't give in on that point. That it's so hard on your joints and your neck, your shoulder, and your low back that I encourage, you know, I go through the spiel, and I'll make them lay on the table in the clinic, and I'll put their legs up, and I'll say, see, this is really comfortable, and try to convince them. But I had a old professor, or a fellow that I was working with, that was a really fabulous mentor, and what he said was that somewhere between now and 80 years old, you are physically no longer going to be able to sleep on your stomach because your head won't turn far enough. We lose range of motion naturally as we age. So at some point, you're not going to be able to do that. So you might as well stop doing it now. It's not a popular answer, but you know, sometimes it's just planting the seed. Sleeping on your stomach is bad for you, and maybe at 25 years old you can still do it, but at some point you're going to remember what I said, and you're going to train yourself to flip or lay on your side. Do you sleep on your stomach? Uh-oh.
Someone wanted to know what you recommend for arm positions while sleeping.
Okay, so it depends. I'm kind of hearing maybe you're having a shoulder issue. So shoulders are tough sleeping. You can't sleep on it, right? Because it's compressing it. And then when it's on the top, it's kind of like dragging over, right? And that tug can be a problem as well. So I usually, no big surprise, more props, right? I would say too that if you do have shoulder pain, make sure your neck is happy. Do what your neck needs, because sometimes it's the side bend and the compression on the nerve root that makes the shoulder hurt. So make sure your head is in good alignment and check that box off. And then when you get laid down on your side, you're going to hug a big pillow, so that again, you don't have the weight of your arm dragging down across your body and pulling through the joint. You're going to prop on a pillow to try to keep it in a little bit more neutral position, or your spouse or your dog or whatever you've got that you can kind of wrap your arm around. Does that help? Shoulders are tough at night when they're sore.
Thanks, that does help.
Sure, I hope so. Any other questions? So if you are interested in more information about sleeping or getting your joints to settle down if you're having problems, I would love to work with you. I left my email in the chat. You can reach out that way. I think we're going to send you a recording of this talk tonight, and we'll add our contact information in that. And I also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, and every Tuesday I post a Physical Therapy Tuesday tip, and I cover ergonomics of shoveling and lifting your laundry. And at Thanksgiving, I did how to put the turkey in the oven without hurting your back, and all kinds of just kind of weird ergonomic tips around the house. So feel free to check out either my YouTube channel, PT Health Academy, or my Facebook page. same name, PT Health Academy. I did see another chat something pop up, or was that the same?
Awesome. It looks like we are
that was
going
you.
to
Good.
get wrapped up.
Awesome.
We do appreciate everyone who hopped on the call today, and you have our contact information in the chat, as well as we'll be sending that out. So if you do have questions or want to reach out for specific assistance, feel free to let us know. We're both locally in New Hampshire, and we're happy to help. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you all for coming. Bye-bye.